Part 82. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 811. It was a fluke, just a fluke. Xiao Xian was not too proud, he just shook his head slightly and said, speaking of it, this is just a little better luck, that's all. Regarding Xiao Xian's statement, Wu Bingqing naturally didn't believe it. How can this be? Luck? If it's luck. There are so many people in Qinghua College, is there no one with such good luck? In Qinghua College, everyone has their own secrets, right? Seeing that Wu Bingqing was a little unhappy, Xiao Xian also continued, if nothing else, just say that you can challenge Lei Wanjun alone and not fall behind. Isn't that unusual? It's just a secret technique of the sect, it's not that great. Wu Bingqing didn't hide it. Then, how many people in the sect have such secret skills? Xiao Xian asked. Not a lot. But Qinglong will definitely know it, as well as Kong Dao and Meng Fan. One of them practices the sword, and the other practices the body. They should all have the sect's secret skills. They should have fought side by side just now. Wu Bingqing's attitude towards Xiao Xian softened a lot, and she also said some things directly. Qinglong body skill? Xiao Xian asked tentatively. You actually know the Qinglong physical technique? After hearing Xiao Xian's words, Wu Bingqing was stunned, and then smiled bitterly and said, I didn't expect Elder Wu Meng to trust you so much, and even told you about the Qinglong physical technique. It seems that I know some secrets. Xiao Xian secretly thanked Wu Meng. Good. The Qinglong body technique is the biggest secret of our Qinghua Academy. Wu Bingqing watched Chen Rufei, Huzong, and others hurriedly pack up Feng Qinjiang's body, and said to Xiao Xian, however, if senior brother Qinglong can be baptized by the 8 dragons this year, the Qinglong physical technique will be his. Where are you? Xiao Xian was stunned. He saw Wu Bingqing's strength. She had the ability to confront Lei Wanjun, who was in the Kang God realm. Her strength was also very outstanding. Didn't she even have this chance? Although I'm a little worse than senior brother Qinglong, I won't give up. A trace of determination flashed in Wu Bingqing's eyes. You have fought against Qinglong, how strong is he? Xiao Xian asked tentatively. Monster. This guy is a monster. Wu Bingqing had a rare look of helplessness on his face, no matter in terms of power, body, or soul, he can hold me down. Although I can fight him with some secret techniques, I will probably lose in the end. Say it. Xiao Xian also had stern eyes. Just now, he saw Wu Bingqing's strength. Although she relied on secret skills, her ability to fight Lei Wanjun without losing was enough to prove her ability. But now the words came out of her mouth. Qinglong's strength is even stronger than hers, and he has even become stronger in all aspects. Doesn't this mean Qinglong also has strong combat capabilities when facing the realm of the gods? Can he not fall behind and even defeat the opponent? This made Xiao Xian take a breath of air. Interesting. I didn't expect that someone as proud as you could actually say such a thing. Xiao Xian couldn't help but said, but it is said that among the younger generation of disciples who participated in the baptism of Tianyan, they are all in the spirit god realm. Has Qinglong already crossed that step and entered the Kang god realm? That's not true. However, with Qinglong's strength, it is very simple to enter the blue god realm. After Wu Bingqing finished speaking, she changed the subject and continued to say to Xiao Xian, with your power, it doesn't seem that difficult to advance to the Kang God realm, right? This time it was Xiao Xian's turn to be embarrassed. Indeed. Wu Bingqing ranks second among the inner disciples, and this is not a false reputation. With her words, she also saw Xiao Xian's potential, as well as the strength and realm of Xiao Xian. Hey. Senior sister Wu is indeed a smart person. Xiao Xian scratched the back of his head awkwardly. I believe that in the entire Qinghua Academy, there are quite a few people who want to challenge Qinglong, right? Xiao Xian smiled and said, really speaking, they can be considered elite disciples, aren't they? After all, I was still an elite before I came here. Xiao Xian laughed, isn't it right? But now, although Qinglong is an inner disciple of the younger generation, Xiao Xian was a little embarrassed instead. It's not that good. For his words. That's nothing, right? He always felt that something was missing in him. He didn't intend to expose his strength directly. In fact, there is no problem with what Wu Bingqing said, relying on the Tao power energy and Tao rhyme comprehension in the thunder beads. Unexpectedly, Wu Bingqing, the iceberg goddess, looks cold and arrogant on the surface, but is actually as considerate as her hair. However, he is only one step away from becoming a master in the Kengshen realm. To put it more eloquently, in Qinghua Academy, except for the 8 branch deans, Qinglong will not be weaker than ordinary elders. Xiao Xian shook his head and said, the second inner disciple, such a status is very important anywhere, isn't it? You should know this situation, right? You know, there are thousands of people in the entire Qinghua Academy. With so many people, the 9th person is already a big honor. It seems I guessed well. At least, now he is not willing to become a cultivator of the blue god realm simply by relying on the way of thunder and lightning. Moreover, Xiao Xian also discovered that as far as the current situation is concerned, if he breaks through the Kengshen realm, the younger generation of disciples in Qinghua Academy are really no match for him. I really want to talk about it. The people around him were shocked. Wu Bingqing on the side looked a little serious and said, if my guess is right, you want to challenge Qinglong, right? Where there? Are you going to laugh at me now? Wu Bingqing said coquettishly. Xiao Xian said indifferently, after all, who doesn't want to be the number one among the younger generation in Qinghua Academy? How is this possible? After all, you are also a person with some status in Qinghua Academy. However, the disciples who can participate in this mission should be pretty good. It is not an exaggeration to call him the 9th person in Qinghua Academy. Say it. After hearing this, just when Xiao Xian hesitated, are they worthy of the word elite? Wu Bingqing didn't care. Wu Bingqing suddenly smiled, a hint of cunning flashed in the corner of his eyes. As expected, it seems that your talent is really amazing. Challenging Qinglong, to be honest, this is the goal of most Qinghua Academy disciples. It is not impossible for him to break through to the blue god realm. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 812. There are many people with this idea. But why do I vaguely feel that you are the only one who has this ability? After hearing what Xiao Xian said, Wu Bingqing smiled slightly, if you can do this, it will be enough to surprise me. Later, Wu Bingqing opened the Dharma arc again. March along the way. Xiao Xian and others also returned to Qinghua College. In the Tiangong Pavilion, Wu Bingqing, as the captain of the mission team, also told the details of this mission. It emphasized Xiao Xian's role in the mission. As the captain of the task team, Wu Bingqing is qualified to make a judgment on all members of the team. What surprised everyone in Tiangong Pavilion? She actually made the highest evaluation of Xiao Xian. This really surprised the disciples of Tiangong Pavilion. You must know that before going on the mission, Xiao Xian was recognized as the weakest disciple. He was even ostracized by other members of the mission team. How could this mission actually change their attitude towards Xiao Xian so much? Senior Sister Wu, are you sure you want to give Xiao Xian the S-level rating for this mission? A disciple of Tiangong Pavilion had a strange expression. Not bad. Wu Bingqing didn't even blink. Ahem. Wu Bingqing, do you know that as the leader of the task team, you must first be fair and do not give random scores to the members of the task team. A discordant voice sounded in Tiangong Pavilion. It turned out to be Bai Sheng, the branch dean of Qinghua College. After Bai Sheng stood up, it caused a lot of discussion among the disciples. They all knew that Chen Rufei was a disciple of Bai Sheng's lineage. When he stood up this time, he undoubtedly wanted to support Chen Rufei. Thank you, Dean Bai, for reminding me. What I just said is what I think in my heart and is not selfish. Faced with Bai Sheng's cross-examination, Wu Bingqing showed no fear and still insisted on her statement. This made Bai Sheng look even more ugly. In Bai Sheng's lineage, Chen Rufei is considered to be a relatively strong young disciple in their lineage. Not to mention that Bai Sheng was unhappy with Xiao Xian. Even without this relationship, Bai Sheng did not believe that a mere Xiao Xian could be stronger than the disciples he taught. Interesting. If you really talk about it. Xiao Xian, who is at the pinnacle of the spiritual god realm, could he play a greater role in the lightning strike place than my apprentice Chen Rufei? Bai Sheng ignored the cold eyes of the people next to him and said directly, as far as your current choice is concerned, maybe most disciples don't want to believe it, right? His voice is not quiet. Let the disciples in Tiangong Pavilion hear clearly. Even Elder Huang, the elder in charge of Tiangong Pavilion, was alarmed. When Elder Huang asked about the cause of the matter, he frowned slightly. He knew the character of Wu Bingqing, the second best person in the inner sect, quite well. But at this moment, he was also a little confused. Xiao Xian is indeed at the peak of the spiritual god realm. In a dangerous place like the lightning strike land, if he is not careful, he may even lose his life. How could he possibly function in a place like that? Isn't this a bit strange? However, the person supporting Xiao Xian now turned out to be Wu Bingqing, which made him a little confused. That's what you mean. Wu Bingqing, do you know that the S-level score requires Xiao Xian to play a decisive role in the mission? Are you sure that Xiao Xian played such a big role in this mission? As the elder of Tiangong Pavilion, Elder Huang couldn't help but ask, if this is really the case, can you tell me what role Xiao Xian played? Hear this. Wu Bingqing looked around instead. After sizing up the people around her, she continued, originally, I didn't want to talk about this matter, but since it was Elder Huang who asked the question, the disciple naturally knew everything. In this mission, Xiao Xian defeated the blood ancestor in Feng Qinjiang's body and forced Lei Wanjun, the leader of the Puppet Thunder sect, to play an extremely important role. If Xiao Xian were not here, we would be in extreme danger this time. The mission is impossible. Wu Bingqing said directly. When these words were spoken, everyone present was a little shocked, and they all looked at Wu Bingqing in disbelief. Even Bai Sheng and Elder Huang had strange eyes. This seems a bit unlikely. After all, Xiao Xian's strength is there, he is just at the peak of the spiritual god realm. With such strength, why should he become a figure? Isn't this a joke? Could it be said that Wu Bingqing was showing favoritism? After thinking about it, Bai Sheng was sure that Wu Bingqing must have deliberately favored Xiao Xian, so he said with a gloomy face, Wu Bingqing, do you know that this time it is not just you and Xiao Xian who are participating in the mission, there are others. Disciple knows Wu Bingqing was still neither humble nor overbearing. Then you should know that there are some things that you can't twist. Bai Sheng continued, if you change your statement now and give an S-level evaluation to someone again, maybe Elder Huang can forget about it, right? Elder Huang. Tiangong Pavilion's evaluation only needs facts. Elder Huang nodded slightly. What the disciple just said is true. If there is anything unclear, Elder Huang and Dean Bai can ask other disciples. Wu Bingqing looked calm. Snort. It's a shameless talk. Are you, Lu Lianyi, all of you so tough talking? Bai Sheng was furious when he saw that his words had been ignored. He felt that his authority had been challenged. Chen Rufei, tell me, What happened in the lightning strike place? Bai Sheng found Chen Rufei directly. This, disciple. Disciple, it seems there is nothing to say. Chen Rufei's face turned slightly red, his head lowered, and he was even a little unable to speak. This time, Bai Sheng was so angry that he almost slapped Chen Rufei on the face, causing the latter to be beaten. What is this? What was his purpose of specifically looking for trouble with Wu Bingqing this time? Don't you just want Chen Rufei to get some benefits? But it's better now. This Chen Rufei actually looked like he couldn't hold himself up to the wall because of the mud. Wasn't this a waste of his hard work? Chen Rufei. Could it be that you have no role at all in this search mission? I have worked so hard to train you as a teacher for so many years. Is it all in vain? The anger in Bai Sheng's eyes could almost kill someone. Disciple, during the mission, the disciple was responsible for the search mission, and assisted in the combat mission. Chen Rufei said hesitantly. However, as soon as he said these words, he attracted the cold looks of many people in the mission team. Search. Assist in combat? What kind of mission is this? Isn't that what he was supposed to do? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 813. Elders and Deans, can you hear clearly? Chen Rufei only played a role in searching and assisting in operations during the mission. Can such a situation also receive an S-level evaluation? Chen Rufei took the initiative to admit these things. It saved Wu Bingqing a lot of trouble, so she simply continued to ask, so, Chen Rufei, have you ever played against Feng Qingyang? I don't. Then have you ever fought against Lei Wanjun? Nor. Then is there any result in your so-called search mission? Without. Wu Bingqing asked these questions. Chen Rufei, however, could not answer a single question. Instead, cold sweat broke out on his face. Apparently, he had no words to defend himself. For this, Xiao Xian next to him just said nothing. Obviously he doesn't care about this farce about Chen Rufei. In fact, for him, he really didn't care much about the rights and wrongs of this matter. It's just an S-level evaluation. It's nothing more than a few thousand Dao stones. This small amount of money was really not worth the effort, but now that he was looking at Wu Bingqing helping him, he was a little moved. Although it is based on emotion and reason. Xiao Xian indeed helped the mission team a lot, and it was considered the first contribution to this mission. It is normal for him to receive rewards and evaluations. But this time, the leader of the mission team was Wu Bingqing after all. Moreover, when Xiao Xian concentrated on breaking through, it was Wu Bingqing who stepped forward and stabilized the situation. Speaking of which, Wu Bingqing can be considered a very meritorious person. From this perspective, Xiao Xian was too embarrassed to fight for something just because of the size of his achievements. Then let's put it this way. Chen Rufei, you didn't play much of a role in this mission at the lightning strike land. Hearing Chen Rufei's words, Elder Huang from Tiangong Pavilion also roughly understood. In this mission, Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing probably played the main role, and the others were just supporting. Just like this Chen Rufei. Most likely it would have no effect, otherwise, with his master Bai Sheng supporting him at the moment, he would not be able to say a word. But at the same time, this also surprised Elder Huang secretly. This Xiao Xian looked inconspicuous before, just like an ordinary person. Why is he so prominent now? How could he perform so well in the lightning strike place? This is really strange. Could it be that Wu Meng gave Xiao Xian some secret technique or trick? Chen Rufei, do you have anything else to say? Seeing that Bai Sheng was still around, Elder Huang was not too disrespectful and gave Chen Rufei a chance to speak. Chen Rufei, don't be afraid. If you have anything to say, just say it, Bai Sheng encouraged. No. Nothing to say. But in the end, Chen Rufei still moved his lips slightly and did not dare to say a word. Because he knew that although he had the support of Master Bai Sheng, it was not just his disciples from Bai Sheng's lineage who participated in this mission. Not to mention whether he would be rebutted by this guy if he slandered Xiao Xian, whose own next to him would not just watch. In the end, coupled with the testimony of others, he was the one who suffered the loss. So now, his best choice is to keep his mouth shut, try not to provoke others, and finally save some face for himself. But compared to Chen Rufei's little thoughts, Bai Sheng was furious. He never thought that the disciple he had carefully trained would be so embarrassing, even worse than Xiao Xian. Isn't this a slap in the face? Suddenly, under the gaze of many disciples of Tiangong Pavilion, Bai Sheng's face was burning with pain, as if he had been slapped hard, red and hot. Disgraceful thing. Get back here. Seeing Chen Rufei's cowardly look, Bai Sheng also became angry for no reason, and a wave of strength emerged, directly holding his neck and lifting him up. Under great power, Chen Rufei was also directly pushed to the ground. Afterwards, Bai Sheng didn't stop and walked straight out of Tiangong Pavilion. When he walked next to Xiao Xian, he did not forget to take the initiative to say to him, "I didn't expect that in just half a year, you could make such progress. I was wrong at the time. Don't dare to take it seriously. It's just a little bit better luck. When I first entered Qinghua College, I was grateful to Dean Bai Sheng for taking care of me. I have not forgotten it." The corners of Xiao Xian's mouth raised slightly. With this identity, he had no ability to resist in front of Bai Sheng. What else can Bai Sheng do? Bai Sheng, this guy, is currently a relatively big threat to him. There are some things I don't need to say more. He. This is a bit impossible, right? Not to mention that it was impossible for Kang Long to watch the sect's internal fighting, even Wu Meng would not watch him take action against him. At that time, if Wu Meng hadn't taken action, Xiao Xian might have had to use time to save his life. But what I want to tell you is that no disciple who has offended me, Bai Sheng, can walk out of Qinghua Academy alive. Does Bai Sheng still dare to attack him brazenly? He has not forgotten that when he first entered Qinghua Academy, he was still at the beginning of the spiritual god realm. After all, this guy was originally a powerful Kangshen realm expert and the branch dean of Qinghua Academy. Could it be that there are other plans to deal with him? Ordinarily, the baptism of Tianyan was performed in front of the entire Mingzhou realm's powerful people, and Kang Long, Wu Meng and others would watch. Only Xiao Xian heard it. However, now he is a little curious about what this guy's last words meant. After hearing these words, Xiao Xian's eyes became sharper. He. This was said in a very low voice. Under such circumstances, if you are really capable, show it in the heavenly flame baptism. However, I advise you not to be too proud. Although at that time, he had no ability to resist, it is different now. Now he has reached the great perfection of the spiritual god realm. Xiao Xian has never forgotten it. With the power of that moment, he may not be particularly afraid of Bai Sheng. Thinking of this, Xiao Xian's face still became a little more stern, and he said directly, "So, Dean Bai Sheng has some arrangements for the Tianyan baptism." You. Bai Sheng sneered and said sinisterly, "Otherwise, you will lose your life accidentally. The revenge of this arrow." Bai Sheng said a few words proudly, turned around and left. What he could feel was. He even mentioned the baptism of heavenly flame. If not, are all the disciples of Wu Meng's lineage so arrogant? It's relatively easy to cause trouble for him. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 814. So to say, Dean Bai Sheng is really going to cause trouble for me. Xiao Xian smiled coldly and said directly, this is a bit interesting. I didn't expect that as a sect dean, he would say such words at this moment. It really makes everyone laugh. Hearing Xiao Xian's undisguised words, Bai Sheng's face was ashen, and he stunk as much as he wanted. I really want to talk about it. As a branch dean of a college, he should be on the same level as Wu Meng in terms of status. Who knew that he would be ridiculed by Xiao Xian like this now? If someone else hears this, he, the branch dean, might really be disgraced. I have to say, kid, you are a very courageous person. For so long, there are only a few people who have the courage to talk to me like this. Bai Sheng was almost furious. Within Qinghua Academy, except for Kang Long and Wang Ao who could suppress him, no one else was qualified to say anything in front of him. Even Wu Meng, who was unhappy with him, didn't dare to say too much. Who knew that today, he would be ridiculed by a little Xiao Xian? You know, this Xiao Xian is just a new disciple. You. Okay, I will remember what happened today very clearly, but I hope you won't regret it one day in the future. After Bai Sheng said one sentence, he no longer hesitated, turned around and left. Hear this. Everyone can tell without guessing that Bai Sheng must be very angry. Wu Bingqing, on the other hand, looked at Xiao Xian a little strangely, and couldn't believe her performance just now. To know. Xiao Xian just provoked Lei Wanjun in the lightning strike place. Now, when you return to Qinghua College, are you going to cause trouble for Bai Sheng? These two people are both masters of the Kangshen realm. Why is Xiao Xian so confident? Doesn't he take these people seriously? Isn't this a bit too arrogant? Interesting. Have to say. You are the boldest new disciple I have ever seen. As soon as Chen Rufei and Bai Sheng left, Wu Bingqing stopped talking to Elder Huang, walked to Xiao Xian, and said with a smile, it seems that your future is really immeasurable. Wu Bingqing's figure swayed and her delicate body came to Xiao Xian's side. The two of them were actually talking and laughing as if no one was watching. Naturally, it attracted the attention of some disciples of Qinghua Academy. Wu Bingqing is good-looking, has a good family background, and more importantly, is extremely powerful, ranking second among the inner disciples. A proper goddess-level figure of Qinghua Academy. On weekdays, this iceberg goddess would ignore and treat any disciple OU indifferently. But today he actually took the initiative to speak to Xiao Xian. How could this not arouse the jealousy of some single male disciples? What made them even more angry was that Xiao Xian was already very close to Long Ruoxiu, who was of his own lineage. Now he has provoked Wu Bingqing again? Isn't this a complete scumbag? Step on two boats. The one who stepped on was the goddess of Qinghua Academy. How could they endure such a thing? Who knows where the Xiao Xian comes from? He is so close to senior sister Wu Bingqing. I heard that he was a new student who came some time ago. He came first in the competition among freshmen. He also got the position of professor and has a high status in the professor's college. It seems like he is just from the peak of the spiritual god realm to the great perfection of the spiritual god realm. Isn't it already remarkable that a freshman can achieve such an achievement? Indeed, if you have just entered our academy and are in such a state, it is already amazing. But there are some tricks. How about it? Would you be interested in having a drink together? Wu Bingqing didn't care about these people at all, but said to Xiao Xian with a smile, I know that Ziwak Xianlu has some good wine and food. Hear this. Instead, Xiao Xian had a headache. Today, when he heard Wu Bingqing's invitation, Xiao Xian was really a little hesitant, but it wasn't because he was greedy for the delicacies of Ziwak Xianlu. You don't know. To be honest, he was really curious about Qinglong. On the contrary, Wu Bingqing acted more calmly, as if he knew Xiao Xian would be curious, and said to himself, in Qinghua Academy, the person who has fought the most with Qinglong is probably me, so I know him best. If you want to defeat him, you can only find me. Eating it is beneficial to the practitioner's physique. Isn't it necessary? Xiao Xian subconsciously refused. Facing Xiao Xian while talking. And Xiao Xian is such a poor disciple. Xiao Xian couldn't help but sigh secretly. Wu Meng didn't know either. According to Wu Meng, King Glong's master is Kang Long, who has the blood of the dragon, and it seems that the blood of the dragon has awakened somewhat. As the saying goes, only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win 100 battles. If you want to defeat Qinglong, you must know the opponent well, right? But how much is the specific awakening? Although some elixirs, spiritual treasures, and magic circles can help, in the long run, the power cultivated by oneself will be more solid and stable. He did have some understanding of this Ziwixian tower. You have to rely more on your own strength. This is the food and drink provided specifically for cultivators in Qinghua Academy. The wine, meat, and vegetables used are all made from rare elixirs and beasts. Isn't this not good? Xiao Xian was a little embarrassed. It was like asking the teacher for questions before taking an exam. Hear these analyses. They are very willing to come here to eat and drink, which not only satisfies their appetites, but is also good for their bodies. Qinglong is an inner-sect senior brother, what interest can I have? Xiao Xian deliberately looked indifferent. This guy Qinglong is not only powerful, but also extremely cunning. If you don't want to ask about him, maybe he is asking about you now. Obviously, it was already acquiesced that Xiao Xian had agreed to her invitation. But some disciples from poor families have no such idea. Basically, it's all about practicing honestly. Aren't you interested in Qinglong? Wu Bingqing smiled instead. I think if you can have dinner with me, maybe I can give you some news. She also walked lightly towards the outside of Tiangong Pavilion. If Xiao Xian wants to defeat Qinglong, perhaps he can only understand some of his strength through Wu Bingqing. For some disciples of big families, Wu Bingqing said with disdain, that guy is a person who will do anything to win. He had always stayed away from places like Ziwixian Tower. But practice one way. That's not necessarily true, right? It is said that in Ziwixian Tower, as long as there is a Taoist stone, you can eat whatever you want, even the fourth-grade monster restaurant can get it. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 815. It's up to you. Your relationship with Qinglong isn't that good either. After hearing the tone of Wu Bingqing's words, Xiao Xian felt a little strange instead. Ordinarily, Wu Bingqing was beaten by Qinglong in the inner gate, so there must be competition between the two of them. There is such a relationship. Maybe there will be conflicts between them. But really speaking, it didn't seem like he was rushing to tell him these secrets of Qinglong. Is it possible that Wu Bingqing is so unconfident in defeating Qinglong? Do you even want to rely on Xiao Xian to win? This made Xiao Xian a little curious. You? From the look of you, it seems, you don't have a good impression of Qinglong. Certainly. Didn't I say that? That guy is just an arrogant, shallow, lustful, and shameless martial arts idiot. Wu Bingqing's eyes were even colder. Is there something? Hearing this, Xiao Xian heard some problems. It is normal for Wu Bingqing and Qinglong to have conflicts, and it is also normal for them to be rude to each other. But even if they don't like each other, it doesn't reach the point of personal attack, right? Unless. What did this Qinglong do to Wu Bingqing that made both humans and gods abandon him? Think of this. Xiao Xian couldn't help but look at Wu Bingqing with something strange in his eyes. This Wu Bingqing is also a great beauty, and she suddenly said that her fellow disciple is a pervert? There is no story in this. Xiao Xian himself didn't believe it. At this moment, his eyes looking at Wu Bingqing were even more playful. What? Don't think too much. I have nothing to do with Qinglong. Wu Bingqing soon noticed the strange look in Xiao Xian's eyes, and directly interrupted the latter's random thoughts. If you say no, then there won't be. Xiao Xian was non-committal. It's not good in the first place, no girl cares about her reputation. At this moment, Wu Bingqing's face was slightly red. Yep. But then why do you hate Qinglong so much? Isn't there some story in it? Xiao Xian looked at Wu Bingqing, his eyes twinkling. Right now, it was the time when Wu Bingqing was needed, and he was unwilling to stalemate the relationship between the two. For Xiao Xian's eyes like this. Wu Bingqing seemed a little impatient, and simply said directly, speaking of which, some things are really not that novel. I am Qinglong's fiancé. However, I don't want to marry him. These are all marriages decided by the family. After hearing Xiao Xian's words, Wu Bingqing also explained coldly, so put away your dirty thoughts. That's that, Sister Wu, you are so good looking, so you should look down on Qinglong's ugly dragon body, Xiao Xian said casually. Have you seen Qinglong? Wu Bingqing was a little confused. Never seen it. However, I heard that he has dragon bloodline, so naturally he is not very good looking. Xiao Xian said matter-of-factly, if a beautiful woman like you really marries him, she will be like a real flower stuck in cow dung. Wear it 1,000 times, but flattery never wears it. Facing the beauty Wu Bingqing, Xiao Xian did not hesitate to express his kind words and said, this is normal, isn't it? Say it. Wu Bingqing's face moved slightly, and there was an imperceptible hint of anger in his eyes. Indeed, compared with the ugly and domineering Qinglong, the handsome Xiao Xian seems to be easier to accept. At this moment, she suddenly had a special feeling. It seems that Xiao Xian can really defeat Qinglong. Maybe one day, he can really defeat Qinglong? Think of this. Instead, Wu Bingqing showed a sly smile. Well, before Tianyun's baptism, I will be your opponent and practice with you, how about it? Sparring partner. Free beauty sparring. There was some doubt in Xiao Xian's eyes. Of course I don't doubt your strength, but unfortunately, I am a little doubtful about your purpose. Faced with Xiao Xian's suspicion. On the contrary, Wu Bingqing still had a smile on her face. Of course, there is no free lunch in the world. I will sparring with you, and you help me defeat Qinglong, how about it? This time Xiao Xian was stunned. Qinglong, this is the #1 disciple of the younger generation in Qinghua Academy. Among the young disciples of Qinghua Academy, whenever this person is mentioned, they will basically give a thumbs up. Why now? From what Wu Bingqing said, it seemed like she had such high expectations for him. Walk all the way. The two quickly arrived at the entrance of Ziwixian Tower. As the goddess of Qinghua Academy, Wu Bingqing naturally attracted the attention of many disciples when she appeared. Sister Wu, I didn't expect to meet you here, what a coincidence. A male disciple wearing a black short shirt and holding a long knife walked up and stood in front of Wu Bingqing and Xiao Xian. Why don't we eat together? A casual meal. No need. I have guests today, so I won't have dinner with you. After seeing the person coming, Wu Bingqing's face turned cold and said, Kong Dao, you'd better go back. Oh. Is this the guest? Kong Dao frowned slightly, but then relaxed. He was not surprised by Wu Bingqing's rejection. Since he met Wu Bingqing, he didn't know how many times he had been rejected like this. But this time it was different. The reason why Wu Bingqing refused was actually a disciple beside her. This is a little different. Within Qinghua College, Basically, all the students know that Qinglong is Wu Bingqing's fiancé. Even if some male disciples have feelings for Wu Bingqing, they dare not express it actively, let alone eating alone with Wu Bingqing. After all, if this matter spreads, wouldn't it be equivalent to poaching Qinglong? If Qinglong knew about it, wouldn't this disciple be in bad luck with his violent temper and tyrannical strength? Kong Dao serves as Qinglong's younger brother. After seeing Xiaoxian, he was also a little confused. Where did this pretty boy come from? Why are you so ignorant? Don't you even know this rule? How dare you eat with Wu Bingqing in front of so many people? Isn't this living impatiently? Think of this. Kong Dao also looked at Xiaoxian with interest, with a slight smile on his lips. I didn't expect that there are people who are not afraid of death. Don't you think you take brother Qinglong seriously at all? Knife. I have nothing to do with Qinglong. Please don't mention this person in front of me in the future. Wu Bingqing looked ugly. Kong Dao smiled at Wu Bingqing's annoyance and said, Senior Wu, some things are decided by the family. Even if you object, it will have no effect. It's better to accept it honestly, isn't it? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 816. He. I, Wu Bingqing, am not a submissive person. Do you think that a mere family arrangement can make me admit it? Wu Bingqing sneered. Kong Dao didn't seem surprised by these words, but he just lowered his head and smiled, and then looked at Xiaoxian with strange eyes. After all, Wu Bingqing is the second inner disciple of Qinghua Academy. She has some ideas about her marriage, and maybe some say. But who is Xiaoxian? What good results can he achieve by rashly getting involved in Wu Bingqing's affairs? Not to mention angering Qinglong. Even if other people in Qinglong Academy who were pursuing Wu's condition knew about it, he would have no good results. It can be said that Xiaoxian has to wade through this muddy water. It's simply courting death. I don't know the name of this brother yet, I don't know. My name is Xiaoxian. Others, the matter between Wu Bingqing and me has nothing to do with you, right? Xiaoxian didn't wait for Kong Dao to say anything more, and directly ordered him to be kicked out. After all, we still have things to talk about next. Say it. Kong Dao's face suddenly became gloomy. Although his status in the academy is not as high as Qinglong's, but he is also the fourth-ranked disciple in Qinghua Academy, second only to Qinglong, Wu Bingqing and Meng Fan. The way of a steel knife. The insight was extremely profound. Under such circumstances, if ordinary people want to fight Kong Dao, they will not end well in the end. What are you going to do? Looking at you, is it possible that you still plan to compete with me? Kong Dao sneered and did not walk away. Instead, he took the initiative to approach Xiaoxian with a frosty face. Then I want to see if you have this ability. But don't wait for Kong Dao to say more. Wu Bingqing walked over directly. Kong Dao, what are you going to do? Xiaoxian is my guest. If you want to attack him, you must get through me first. Say it. Kong Dao's face became increasingly gloomy. To him, Xiaoxian was undoubtedly an enemy. If Wu Bingqing asked him to leave, although he would be dissatisfied, he would not dare to make too many mistakes. But it was different now. The person who said this was Xiaoxian, so he had to think carefully about whether Xiaoxian was qualified to say this. A mere new student. Why should you be so shameless in front of the inner disciples? Isn't this seeking death? In Qinghua Academy, although there is no clear affiliation between students, the inner disciples obviously have a higher status than the freshmen. These temptations don't need to be said by others. But now, Xiaoxian doesn't seem to understand this truth. This had to make Kong Dao angry. Is it possible that in Xiao Xian's eyes, he, an inner disciple, is nothing? Doesn't this look down on him? Xiao Xian, what you say is not your ability. Isn't it a bit too useless to hide behind a woman? If you really have the ability, why not show it and let's meet on the battlefield? Kong Dao had a sullen face and directly invited Xiao Xian to fight. For a moment, the disciples at the entrance of Ziwixian Tower also became solemn. In Qinghua Academy, disciples can indeed invite each other to fight. Generally speaking, this is the best way to resolve conflicts between disciples. Both parties invited. Just have a good fight on the battlefield. Winner takes all, loser for cow. Needless to say about other things. As long as they are defeated on the battlefield, the disciples on the losing side will naturally not dare to say anything. I'm afraid they will keep their mouths shut. From a certain perspective, this is not only a characteristic of Qinghua Academy, but also the same among other sects. Only strong people. Only then can you have the right to speak in the sect. It's a bit interesting. But it's of little interest to me. Xiao Xian refused without hesitation. Fight? Are you kidding me? If there were no benefits, who would have free time to fight with disciples like Kong Dao every day? There is no benefit to winning and it is a waste of time. Don't you dare. Are you just a pretty boy who only hides behind women? After saying these words, Kong Dao's face showed a bit of contempt. Ordinarily, he said it in such an unpleasant way. As long as Xiao Xian has some blood, they would agree to his invitation to fight, so that he could legitimately defeat Xiao Xian and teach him a lesson. Just now. After seeing the appearance of the person in front of me. Instead, Xiao Xian's face showed a bit of contempt, and he said directly and disdainfully, I can tell you directly, I am not interested in defeating you. You. Kong Dao, have you had enough trouble? Kong Dao wanted to say something more. However, after seeing Wu Bingqing's somewhat cold expression the next second, he couldn't help but shudder and retreated honestly. He could tell that Wu Bingqing seemed really angry this time. To know. Normally, Wu Bingqing is definitely not a person who deliberately makes trouble for others. In any case, Wu Bingqing is also a figure with some status as an inner disciple, and ordinary people would not dare to make trouble in front of her. There is the identity of the second inner sect. Except for Qinglong, no one else has the right to be rude to her. Yes, then, senior sister Wu, I'll have fun first. Kong Dao held his breath in his heart, glanced at Xiao Xian hatefully, and left helplessly. Amazing. I never thought that you would have such a high status in the academy. Xiao Xian turned his head, with a bit of amazement in his eyes. You won't tell me that this is because of Qinglong's reputation, right? Of course not. After all, I am the second best in the inner sect of Qinghua Academy. I can still deal with Kong Dao without any problem. Wu Bingqing also looked at Xiao Xian and continued, however, what I can confirm is that you should be able to defeat Kong Dao easily. This was said calmly. But it made Xiao Xian a little embarrassed. He originally thought that he could try his best to hide his strength in front of outsiders before the baptism of Tianyan. Who knows? Wu Bingqing still saw through it. How do you know? Xiao Xian sighed. Isn't this normal? If you were an ordinary person, how could you take the initiative to fight Lei Wanjun and kill the remaining soul of the blood ancestor in the land struck by lightning? Wu Bingqing looked at Xiao Xian thoughtfully. Besides, I feel that you entered the lightning strike place not just to complete the mission of Qinghua Academy, but for another purpose. I can still feel that your goal has probably been achieved, right? Good. I have long heard that inner disciple Wu Bingqing is both talented and beautiful, and now it seems that this is indeed the case. Xiao Xian was helpless. If I didn't have the perfect state of the spiritual god realm, how could I dare to challenge Lei Wanjun? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 817. It's rare to hear the truth from your mouth. Sometimes, I really can't see through you. I don't know what your strength is, so I don't dare to put all my money on you. Wu Bingqing looked at Xiaoxian with interest, but sometimes, you can always come up with something that shocks others. Ha ha ha. Isn't it said that men who are invisible to others are the most attractive? Xiaoxian smiled. I think you should also have something at the bottom of the box for Tianyan's baptism, right? I hide something, and you also hide something. Isn't this fair? After hearing this, Wu Bingqing couldn't help being stunned, but then she laughed. She also had to admit that Xiaoxian was indeed a very cunning guy. What she said just now, in fact, to a certain extent, gave her some advantages over Xiaoxian in the psychological game. Although it won't make Xiaoxian make much concessions. At least, Xiaoxian can be given some concessions in the future. But now, Xiaoxian's words directly put her and Xiaoxian on the same starting line. After all, in such an important trial as Tianyan baptism, there was no way she was not prepared for anything. Well, it seems that I can't get any information from you today. Wu Bingqing looked regretful. In any case, we are all companions in the lightning strike place. Are you unwilling to reveal any information? Seeing Wu Bingqing's appearance next to her, Xiaoxian couldn't help being stunned. He didn't expect that Wu Bingqing, who was usually cold and arrogant, would behave like this. This was really something he couldn't believe. After all, it was in his impression. Wu Bingqing is always like a cold lady, how could she suddenly become like this? Is there anything strange about this? While talking, the noise in Ziwixian Tower seemed to have subsided. Xiaoxian saw that several disciples at the next table took the initiative to leave in a hurry, looking at him as if they were the god of plague. What's going on? Xiaoxian was a little confused. But when he turned around, he saw a strong, bald man wearing green clothes. It dawned on him. He seems to have been tricked by Wu Bingqing. No wonder this woman was so kind to invite him to come to Ziwixian Tower for dinner. Was this the original purpose? See what it means now. Is he actually being used as a shield? Xiaoxian frowned slightly. Although he was not necessarily afraid of Qinglong, provoking such a big figure for no reason was not what he wanted after all. Bingqing, this is... Qinglong was not polite. He walked up to Wu Bingqing carelessly and glanced at Xiaoxian sideways. Wu Bingqing did not give Qinglong a good look, and said equally coldly, Xiaoxian, my friend. Friend. Since he is your friend, he is also my Qinglong's friend. After Qinglong finished speaking, with a bit of sarcasm in his eyes, he sat directly on the other side of the wooden table. They seemed to want to eat together. At this time, the disciple on the table next to him finally understood. Qinglong is so arrogant. It was obvious that he wanted to cause trouble for Xiaoxian. Some disciples who didn't want to cause trouble also got up in a hurry, paid their bills and left. Everyone knows that this guy Qinglong is willing to fight with his life. If he really gets angry and turns into the body of a dragon, the entire Ziwixian Tower will suffer. At the same time, several stewards from Ziwixian Tower were also paying attention here nervously. Some people even went to inform other elders first. What's happening here? I heard that someone wanted to poach Qinglong this time, and Qinglong personally caught him. Who is so bold? It seems to be a new student named Xiaoxian. The disciples not far away were talking a lot. Those who have something good to do will carefully peek at the door, as if they are looking forward to what will happen next. Xiaoxian. I have heard of this name. It seems to be very famous among the freshmen. Before Wu Bingqing could introduce him, Qinglong looked at Xiaoxian with interest. If my guess is right, you should also be qualified to enter the baptism of Tianyan, right? Senior brother Qinglong is right. Xiao Xian nodded. If possible, you can follow me after entering the Tianyan pond, and I will give you some opportunities then, Qinglong said generously. Thank you. But you have to rely on yourself to fight for opportunities in heaven and earth. If you rely on others, I'm afraid that no matter how good the opportunity is, you won't be able to get it. Xiao Xian refused without being humble or arrogant. After hearing this, Qinglong was a little stunned. Young people are so aggressive. In the Tianyan pond. Is this because he has enough confidence, or does it mean that he doesn't care about these resource opportunities at all? It has also helped many disciples to face their own realm. It will greatly enhance the disciples' Tao power and even give some magical Tao power insights. That's not even the most important thing. These years. It can be considered a bit temperamental, but, things in Tianyan Pond are not as simple as you think. Because of his outstanding performance in Tianyan's baptism, he was favored by some wealthy daughters and sex geniuses, and became Qinglong's son-in-law. Those disciples who became famous in the Tianyan baptism all received a lot of attention and resources from the sect. That's understandable. In the Tianyan pond, the trial disciples can not only obtain the essence of the Tianyan beast, but also enjoy the baptism of the Tianyan beast's essence for the last time. Reject him in person? From this point of view, Xiao Xian's strengths do not seem worthy of Qinglong's attention at all. Xiao Xian is only a perfect spiritual god realm. Perhaps it is remarkable in terms of realm, but it is not the case in real combat. This level of baptism. Basically, the elite disciples from all the sects in the Mingzhou territory will participate. Therefore, the baptism of Tianyan is equivalent to giving the elite disciples of the Mingzhou territory a chance to appear in front of all the people of the Mingzhou territory. Over the years. Because of the importance of Tianyan baptism, geniuses emerge in large numbers. There are even some disciples who are amazingly talented and handsome. Doesn't this give him face? Qinglong smiled. Qinglong was thoughtful instead. Therefore, Tianyan baptism is also an opportunity for many geniuses to show themselves. The baptism of heavenly flames. However, Xiao Xian's ideas were good, but when some things were actually implemented, they might not be the same thing. Is it possible that this guy wants to make a name for himself in the baptism of heavenly flames, so he is unwilling to lag behind others? Don't want to be the person behind him. You know, ordinary Qinghua Academy disciples would be grateful if they could get his help. At this moment, I heard Xiao Xian's answer. This is the annual trial for the most important young disciple in Mingzhou domain. If so, in the end, there will naturally be the strength to make him surrender. Qinglong is a young inner disciple of Qinghua Academy. Who knew Xiao Xian was so backbone? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 818. Thank you for reminding. Speaking of which, you too should have participated in the baptism of Tianyan many times, so you should naturally know better than me. Xiao Xian actually smiled. He could tell that Qinglong's visit today was definitely not just to mock him. Mostly for the baptism of Tianyan. Now since the two sides haven't fallen out yet. If he could get more information, what would he not do? Wanting to understand this, Xiao Xian continued to ask, if I remember correctly, the Tianyan baptism happens every year. Since the two of you are inner disciples, you should have participated more than once, right? Good. Including this year, it should be my fourth time participating. Seeing that there was no direct conflict between Qinglong and Xiao Xian, Wu Bingqing breathed a sigh of relief and said, in the past few times, the most I could do was baptize the 7 dragons. Qinglong had a smile on his face. From his expression, Xiao Xian could roughly judge that this guy probably had a higher level of baptism. 8 dragon baptism. Could it be that senior brother Qinglong has the experience of being baptized by 8 dragons? Xiao Xian asked deliberately. If this is true, senior brother Qinglong is really very capable. It's impressive. No. Since the baptism of Tianyan, there has never been a disciple in the Mingzhou domain who can do the baptism of 8 dragons. Even if I have the luck of a dragon, I still don't have such great abilities. Qinglong sneered and shook his head. In the Tianyan pond, it's not just about being strong that you can get the essence of the sky flame beast. On the contrary, luck is also very important. Listen and listen. Regarding these words of Qinglong, Xiao Xian naturally understood the general idea. Qinglong's words were also very clear. Although he did not say that he would be baptized by several dragons, the meaning behind his words also showed his confidence. It shows that he still thinks so. With the dragon bloodline, he is likely to be baptized by the 8 dragons. This actually aroused Xiao Xian's competitive mentality. After all, Wu Meng has already said before that this 8-dragon baptism not only has many benefits for the cultivators themselves, but more importantly, they can obtain low-level Taoist skills such as Qinglong Taishu. This is the most important thing. Although Xiao Xian now has many trump cards, the most powerful tricks are Chunyangwuji Kendo and Flame Lotus. Both of these Taoist techniques are small earth-level Taoist techniques. In terms of power, it is already very powerful. As a cultivator, you should have the intention to find stronger Taoism, now that there is a small earth-level Taoism. There was no reason for him not to want to go further. Find the true earth-level Taoism. Hasn't his strength become stronger? In this way, wouldn't he be able to achieve even greater heights in the future? It seems. Junior brother Xiao Xian, it seems that he is also here for the baptism of the 8 dragons. Seeing Xiao Xian didn't speak, Qinglong on the side said with a smile, if I remember correctly, junior brother Xiao Xian, you should have entered Qinghua Academy not long ago, right? Does this have anything to do with it? Xiao Xian asked. Of course it does. Since you are a new student, when participating in the baptism of Tianyan, you must follow the arrangements of the old students. This will be safer. Qinglong smiled playfully. Safety. For these 2 words, Xiao Xian can naturally understand. However, he could roughly judge the purpose behind Qinglong's words. Apart from anything else, the relationship between Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing now makes Qinglong hate him in his heart. Under such circumstances, in the baptism of Tianyan, Xiao Xian's best choice is to walk alone. If he really got entangled with a guy like Qinglong, it would definitely not be a good thing for him. Blue Dragon. If you have nothing else to do, just leave. I have something to tell Xiao Xian. Wu Bingqing said politely, it's a little inappropriate for us to talk while you are here. Qinglong was silent. Within Qinghua College, everyone knows that Qinglong has been pursuing Wu Bingqing. Although Wu Bingqing never promised him, the fact that the 2 were engaged was not a secret in the academy. Some disciples once thought so. Since Wu Bingqing did not agree to Qinglong, maybe others will have the opportunity to participate. But the final result was not very good. When Qinglong found out, that night, he broke off the limbs of the powerful disciple and threw him into the barren mountains in the suburbs. If not for being rescued by an old hunter by chance, this disciple is afraid that he will die from a wolf's mouth. After that incident, no disciple dared to provoke Wu Bingqing. Wu Bingqing, who was originally cold and arrogant, was happy to accept this. Therefore, Wu Bingqing and Qinglong also maintained peace for a period of time. But after Xiao Xian suddenly came out, but it broke the balance between them. So to say, Xiao Xian, are you planning to stay too? After seeing Wu Bingqing, Qinglong hesitated to speak, but then glanced at Xiao Xian again. The meaning in his eyes was obvious. That is to tell Xiao Xian to get out of here quickly. Good. Didn't you hear that? Senior Wu, do you want me to stay? Xiao Xian smiled and completely ignored King Glong's words. Instead, he took the initiative and said to Wu Bingqing, Sister Wu, do you think so? Say it. King Glong's face naturally darkened. On the bald head, an illusory dragon aura gradually condensed, and the ferocious and terrifying face seemed to contain some evil power. After feeling this, Xiao Xian was also secretly surprised. Today was the first time he saw Qing Long. Before, he didn't trust Kang Long as the dean. He couldn't see anything from Kang Long. But now look at King Glong's appearance. It seemed like he knew something unusual. The power of evil. He had seen a lot of this kind of thing before. There were also many kinds of evil things on the Tianqian continent and the Great Desolate Continent. He had this familiar feeling again in Qing Long. If he expected it well. As expected, the skills practiced by Qing Long should have been given by Kang Long, so there is something evil in Qing Long. Could Kang Long be clean? For a moment, Xiao Xian remembered some of what Wu Meng said at that time. It seems that Wu Meng doesn't like Kang Long? Good. In that case, you guys chat, I'll wait for you outside. After Qing Long finished speaking, he turned around and walked out of Juxian Tower. Although he didn't say much. But judging from the cold tone and ugly face, it was obvious that Qing Long was very annoyed. Outside Juxian Tower. Most likely he would not spare Xiao Xian easily. It's really interesting. Looking at the current appearance, Qing Long seems to want to cause trouble for me. Looking at King Glong's leaving figure, Xiao Xian smiled instead and said to Wu Bingqing, this fiancé of yours seems to have a bad temper. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 819. Are you afraid of this? Looking at your calm demeanor, it seems like you don't care about him at all, right? Facing Xiao Xian, Wu Bingqing smiled instead, if you can be frightened by one or two words from him, I am mistaken. For these words, Xiao Xian was also helpless. I have to say that this Wu Bingqing is indeed very capable. At such a time, he can still accurately judge his inner thoughts. Then I'm afraid you really misjudged me. I'm just an ordinary disciple. Wouldn't it be troublesome to offend a senior brother like Qing Long? Xiao Xian rolled his eyes and said with a deliberately grimace, you found it for me. It's troublesome. Are you still afraid of trouble? According to what I know, since you came to Qinghua College, you have caused trouble for your own lineage, right? There was a hint of cunning in the corner of Wu Bingqing's mouth. Have you investigated me? Xiao Xian was stunned. He remembered that since he met Wu Bingqing, he had not said much about his situation. He didn't even talk about his involvement in Wu Meng's lineage. How does it sound now? Wu Bingqing understood him clearly. Do you seem to know everything? Do you even know what happened to him in Wu Meng's lineage? Is there anything strange about this? I have been at Qinghua College for such a long time and I have some friends and connections. Isn't it normal to know a few things? He was surprised to see Xiao Xian. On the contrary, Wu Bingqing acted very calmly, otherwise, do you think I would casually agree to a stranger joining the mission team? Hear this. Xiao Xian couldn't help but admire Wu Bingqing's thoughtful thoughts. As a woman, she can think of so many things, but it is enough to show that her status as the second disciple of the inner sect is not an empty reputation. How? Aren't you going to tell the truth? Seeing Xiao Xian still hesitating, Wu Bingqing also smiled and said, don't worry, although Qing Long is reckless, he won't do anything to you. Why? Xiao Xian was a little confused. Wu Bingqing's misfortune just now had directed King Glong's hatred towards him. Now, he has an ambiguous relationship with Wu Bingqing. I'm afraid it was Kong Dao who told Qinglong this news. At this critical moment, Qinglong had no reason to let him go. The reason is simple. In Qinglong's view, you are not his biggest opponent at all. In his heart, except for the 8 inner disciples of Qinghua Academy, no one is worthy of his action. Wu Bingqing said with a smile, so you can completely hide your strength and become a blockbuster when the sky is baptized. Hear these words. Xiao Xian was really helpless. Don't be afraid of being stupid, just be afraid of the enemy being smart. Although his relationship with Wu Bingqing cannot be said to be enemies, from the current point of view, they can be regarded as competitors. At least, in the Tianyan Pond. If there is really a fight for the Sky Flame Beast, Wu Bingqing may not be able to give up his own interests. Just now, when facing Qinglong, they had some common goals. Such a proud man. I just don't know what his strength is. You said she has dragon blood in her body, but do you know how far his dragon blood has awakened? Xiao Xian frowned and asked, if he has been completely awakened, there is no need to perform the baptism of Tianyan. He is undoubtedly the most dazzling one. When I was in the prehistoric continent, he had seen the form of a true dragon. Once the true dragon goes out to sea, it will immediately destroy all the sky, all beasts will surrender, and all spirits will kowtow, except for a few powerful practitioners and noble and ancient spirit beasts. Basically, they must surrender to the power of the dragon. At the moment, although this green dragon is just a dragon bloodline, not as good as the true dragon bloodline, the mere presence of a dragon character is enough to shock the world. Don't worry about this. If he really awakens all the dragon bloodline, he won't be just a student disciple. Wu Bingqing said. After hearing this, Xiao Xian also nodded secretly. Qiaolong is also a type of dragon. Although the blood of the dragon among them is also very sparse, if Qinglong really awakens, its current strength will be at least in the blue god realm, or even the golden god realm. This is also the power of blood. You know, among some ancient races, some pure blood offspring reach extremely high levels as soon as they are born. This is something that ordinary practitioners cannot envy. If these words were put to ordinary people's ears, they might not care. Heard this topic? Is Qinghua College so casual in accepting students? People who don't even know their background and family background will be admitted. Bloodline, Xiao Xian was startled. Perhaps they are thinking about the future of the family. Xiao Xian thought for a while and asked, could it be that your family knows something? There are no special requirements. But I also felt a little embarrassed. But after Xiao Xian heard this, his brows furrowed slightly. He knew that a place like this could very well be a place where opportunity would come to him. It can be said that the dragon belongs to water. Why does it appear in the cave? For the sake of an uncertain dragon bloodline, he would actually choose to sacrifice his own descendants. And he is such an outstanding junior? Suburbs, cave. This. My family hopes that the combination of me and him can leave some heirs with dragon blood to the family. In this way, our family may have some relationship with the dragon lineage in the future. Because he suddenly realized that his own background did not seem to be so right. He was able to enter Qinghua College only with the help of King Li. Xiao Xian has also seen a lot of things in the world, but after hearing Wu Bingqing's words, he couldn't help but sympathize a little. Qinghua Academy has always emphasized teaching without distinction. As long as there are talented students who are willing to learn, Qinghua Academy will welcome them. Wu Bingqing said, it is said that Qinglong is the child that Dean Kanglong picked up from a cave in the suburbs. Xiao Xian nodded, but what I'm a little curious about is where did the dragon bloodline in him come from? Is he a descendant of the dragon? In this case, Qinglong is not incapable of dealing with it. I heard that the family behind you is also very impressive. Will you, a talented disciple, be allowed to marry an inexplicable person. What kind of family? Why? If Qinglong has dragon blood, he should be closer to water, and it would be more normal to appear in rivers and seas. Are they too cruel? Although for thousands of years. Wu Bingqing shook her head and said, not even me, not even Dean Kanglong can answer this question for you. Xiao Xian finished. Wu Bingqing's expression was obviously a little stiff. After being silent for a while, he said, because of the dragon blood in him. Then why did Qinglong become your fiancé again? That's good. It's a little weird. About this question. Could it be that you are being used as a tool? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 820. Tool. Hear these two words. Wu Bingqing's shoulders trembled slightly. Obviously, she still had some recognition of these two words Xiao Xian said. This made Xiao Xian couldn't help but shake his head secretly. He originally thought that Wu Bingqing, the second-ranked disciple in Qinghua Academy, should have some status in his family. Who knew that he was also a tool? For the sake of family blood, he would not hesitate to betray her? In that case, then this family has no intention of obeying. Xiao Xian smiled slightly, no wonder you are so unwilling to obey your family's words now. If it were you, would you still be willing to obey the family? Wu Bingqing asked. Of course not. If this is the case, there is no need for this family to exist. Xiao Xian's eyes flashed with coldness. On the Tianqian continent and the Great Desolate Continent, he had seen many cold-blooded and ruthless practitioners who betrayed their friends, family, and sect for the sake of profit. This kind of thing was not uncommon. If placed before. If he disagrees, he can kill the other sect, and within a day no chickens or dogs will be left behind. It's not like he didn't have such an experience before. But now he is on the Dao continent, and his understanding of the Dao that he was once so proud of is not very good here. Therefore, he is not the person who does whatever he wants. Are you willing to help me? Wu Bingqing raised her head and looked at Xiao Xian seriously. If I want you to help me escape from this engagement, will you help me? Why should I help you? Xiao Xian smiled. He admitted that Wu Bingqing helped him a lot in the lightning strike place. But after returning to Qinghua Academy, this woman used him as a shield to deal with Qinglong. This matter was basically obvious. He is not the kind of mentally retarded young man who will heroically save beautiful women when his brain gets hot. Don't you have any feelings for me at all? Wu Bingqing couldn't help but be startled. Do you think you are good looking? Xiao Xian smiled slightly. On this point, there is nothing wrong with your feeling. Unfortunately, it seems that your face alone cannot make me have too much affection for you. If what you say is true, then I took the liberty. Wu Bingqing's eyes were a little dodgy, but she just said, actually, I don't really want to do this, but I really don't want to be controlled by Qinglong. An explanation of Wu Bingqing. Xiao Xian was non-committal. Who doesn't want to live freely and unfettered forever? But if he wants to break free from the shackles of the outside world, he must rely on his own strength. Over the years, he has experienced more than 1,000,000 things. Danger, opportunity, romance, trap. He had seen countless of these things. At this moment, I will definitely not do something that I feel is dangerous just because of Wu Bingqing. But if I come up with conditions in exchange, wouldn't you agree? Seeing Xiao Xian's determined face, Wu Bingqing couldn't help but said, if you can help me get out of trouble, I can promise to give you 10 million Taoist stones and an earth-level spirit treasure. Dao stone? Lingbao. Xiao Xian needs these things. However, it hasn't reached the point where he is really tempted. He wouldn't put himself in danger casually for these external things, and become enemies with Qinglong or even Kanglong. Then what else do you want? Seeing Xiao Xian's look, Wu Bingqing also had a look of surprise on her face. I don't seem to need anything. Xiao Xian shook his head. In other words, you can't give me what I want. Are you not interested in me at all? If I remember correctly, men are horny. If you are willing, I can be your Taoist companion from now on. Wu Bingqing bit her red lips lightly. Xiao Xian raised his head, his eyes full of clarity. He also admitted that Wu Bingqing was a beauty in every aspect. But in the heart of this beautiful woman, it seemed that it had some purpose, which was something that made him unhappy. Doesn't this seem a bit much? Not to mention whether Qinglong will agree, I guarantee that the family behind you will definitely not agree. Xiao Xian shook his head. He didn't want to cause trouble for himself for no reason. Judging from the situation just now, the reason Wu Bingqing came to him was just to use him. Can he be taken advantage of by just a few Dao stone spiritual treasures? Wu Bingqing seemed to think of some things simply. But if I can give you a piece of thunder bamboo, Wu Bingqing gritted her teeth and said suddenly. Tianlei bamboo. What is this? Xiao Xian was startled. Is this what you call the earth-level spiritual treasure? Wu Bingqing shook his head. In the place where lightning struck, I can feel that the reason why you were able to defeat Lei Wanjun was because you suddenly understood some thunder and lightning rhymes, right? You seem to know something. Xiao Xian became interested. He understood that the energy in the thunder beat should be considered relatively secret. Who knew that Wu Bingqing could know it? I was right next to you. Others may not know it, but I know it. When the power of thunder and lightning emerges from your body, it is obvious that Dao Yun is there. Wu Bingqing said, however, these are just Dao rhymes, which are enough to scare Lei Wanjun, but you can't use real thunder and lightning energy, right? Say it. Xiao Xian was even more curious. After getting the thunder and lightning Dayun, he did think about it. He also tried to condense lightning energy by himself, but failed without exception. According to the system, natural Taoist powers such as lightning, light, and shadow, ancient wood, and gold and stone require practitioners to be immersed in them for a long time. Only then can we accumulate the true power of nature. In this way, they can understand the natural Tao rhythms such as thunder and lightning. However, people like Xiao Xian who do not have the power of nature but understand the charm of nature are definitely the weirdest among the weird. But for Xiao Xian. But it is a troublesome thing. After all, Xiao Xian originally planned to cultivate the chaos path, and he did not have time to spend too much time and energy on the power of thunder and lightning. So now, the thunder and lightning charm on his body has become useless. If he doesn't use it, the thunder and lightning charm that is deeper than Lei Wanjun will be wasted, but if he uses it, he doesn't want to go to a place like the lightning strike place to practice hard. So after hearing what Wu Bingqing said, Xiao Xian's face became more curious and doubtful, and he said directly, so, you can help me in this regard. Good. Tianliazu is such a magical spiritual treasure. It can help you condense the power of thunder and lightning, so that the thunder and lightning charm in you will not be wasted.